Hello everyone, good afternoon. We will discuss today the accounting cycle. So what is accounting cycle? Accounting cycle refers to the series of sequential steps or procedures performed to accomplish the purpose of accounting. The various steps of the accounting process are undertaken through repetitive manner from the start up to the end of every accounting period. So the very basic steps in the accounting cycle are as follows. First is we need to identify the business transactions. Second, journalize entry. Third, post journal entry to the ledger. Fourth one is to prepare trial balance. Now, not all businesses are accountable. For example, the hiring of employees, the death of company president or director, and the entering into contracts are all business activities that cannot be quantified or expressed in terms of money, thus they cannot be recorded in the books of the enterprise. In step 1, we need to identify business transactions. So, what are those business activities, business events? What is the difference between these two items, two business transactions? So, let's take a look at their definitions. So, business activities are called business transactions and events if they affect the assets, liabilities, and owner's equity of the business. Business events are the occasional occurrence in the life of the business like inventory loss due to typhoons, theft, or robbery. So, these are extraordinary events, no? And on the other hand, we have business transaction. This refers to exchanges of equal monetary value. So these business transactions class are what we record in the books of account, okay, or in the books of the company. So in the analysis of business transactions, we need to look into the documents or the supporting documents, no? Or source documents as evidence that a transaction really occurs. Common business documents are as follows. Okay, the first document involved in buying activities are what we call purchase order. So, assuming you're the bookkeeper of GBH Laundry Shop, you have purchase order number, reference, and these are all pre-numbered. So, this is number 1. And the particular date of the order, to whom the order should be made, what is the address of your supplier. The items to be delivered are as follows in this purchase order. They order 100 cartons of Pride powder detergent, 400 peso per unit, total amount of 40,000, and 20 bags of Del fabric conditioner at 100 peso per unit, a total of 2,000. Total purchase order number 1 at 42,000. So, you need to add, no? And then approved and signed by here, Ms. Allen de los Santos. So, this is the first business document. Okay. Take note that the first document of GBH Laundry Shop should fill up in placing orders. Purchase orders class are not recorded in the books because there is no business transaction yet. Remember, business transactions occur only when there is exchanges of equal monetary values, which means you have already received the items purchased and you have already paid in cash or has given your promise to pay. So, in the case of purchase order, wala pa. Okay? The second business document is the cash invoice. This is a document issued by a supplier to its customer whenever the customer purchases items in cash, and that in this sample, charge invoice, in this example, cash invoice, it is from Gaisano Mall, Iligan, kung saan siya bumili ng detergent and fabric conditioner. This can be interpreted as purchased laundry supplies for cash. Okay, total amount is 42,000. And in the cash invoice, so take note that the one who issued the document is the name stated in the heading of this document. And in this case, it is Gaisano Mall. Okay. And by the way, class, before I forget, before this particular purchase order came into existence, like, meron pa siyang pinagdaanan na process. Like, there is what we call the department. Okay, you just imagine, a company or a corporation, they would want to acquire something, like they want office supplies, or in this case, they want a Pride powder detergent. And since it is a laundry shop, this is a direct material, to the service that they are providing. So they are going to request for this item, and some corporation or businesses will canvas kung saan sila bibili using different metrics. Like, let's say, for example, they are looking for the cheapest or the most affordable supplier, or it could also be like they are advocating or supporting local businesses, so bibili lang sila within the locality. Pwede din ganun kasi what if cheap nga kaso may shipping pa, di ba? Malayo pa yung panggagalingan ng item. So dito na lang sa malapit, kahit na mahal ng konti, at least covered naman yung shipping mo. At the same time, you are also helping local business men and women. Okay? So after the canvas, they are going to choose the supplier, and after which, upon the approval of the management or the head of the department, they are now going to prepare the purchase order. Okay? So let's proceed with another document. We have here a charge invoice. Ano ba naman yung charge invoice? Charge invoice is a document issued by a supplier to each customer whenever the customer purchases items on account or on credit. So, assuming wala kayong pera by that time, but you need it because it is part of your direct material a direct cost, sa yung service na pinoprovide. So, you will, or Gaisano Mall will issue you charge invoice instead of cash invoice. So this is interpreted as purchase laundry supplies on account or on credit. Same thing is true. The one who issued the document is the name stated in the heading of the of the document. Sorry. So in the charge invoice, Gaisano Mall is the one who issued. Meron pa din siyang number, reference number, and date. Ang na-add lang dito, is yung terms niya na 30. This refers to 30 days kasi it also depends on the relationship between your supplier and your business, Baka 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, pero matagal na yung 90 days na puro Pride, puro mga detergent, mga conditioner, di ba? Iisipin din naman natin na yung inutangan natin, kinakailangan din nila yung pera. So, as much as possible, as early as possible, dapat mabayaran na natin yung utang natin. Okay. So, the next document that we have is the check voucher. So, the check voucher is issued by, so heading natin, tingnan natin, GBH Laundry Shop, Quezon Avenue, Iligan City. So, siya yung nag-issue. Ngayon, babayaran na natin. This document is issued to be attached to a check for every payment made. It bears the check number and the explanation. So, you have here check number 84322 and the explanation as to what payment this check is intended for. So, 50,000 pesos only in payment of, or in partial payment of the account. So, mabuti na din kasi magkatabi lang yung charge invoice natin at saka check voucher. Makikita natin yung utang niya is 84,000. Okay, 84,000. Kaso lang, si GBH, kulang yung pera niya, or kung hindi naman, meron siyang pera but naka-budget na sa ibang bayarin. Right? So, 50,000 lang yung pwede niyang maibayad. So, yung nilagay natin sa explanation, in partial payment of account. So, 50,000. So, magkano na lang yung balance natin? That's 84 less 50. That's 34,000. Okay? So, hindi na muna natin i-complicate ang mga pangyayari. But actually, there are still like yung question whether or not is this a VAT registered or non-VAT. At saka magkano yung withholding tax. Assuming you're a large taxpayer. No? So, hindi pa natin yun ini-insert. So, simple lang muna. So, next, I will give you an activity or something that you could work on. Pair transactions that are related to each other, and all you have to do is to determine the value received or the debit and the value parted with or credit and use the appropriate account title. So, I'll be sending it to you now later. But okay, now let us proceed with the basic accounting equation. You just a refresher kasi we are already done with the discussion of this, no? So, the equation, this equation, as you can still remember, is referred to as the basic accounting equation and is applied to all economic entities regardless of size, nature of business, or forms of business organization. Okay? You can still remember, mapa-sole proprietor ka man, partnership ka man, or corporation ka man, this equation is still like constant, no? Inanaragin na siya. Di na ito libugon class. Assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. Assets, the assets normal balance is debit. Okay? The liabilities normal balance is credit, right? And then the owner's equity, its normal balance is credit. Okay. The understanding of their respective normal balances is very important so that you can picture, no, the effect of changes on these values in terms of peso, Philippine peso. Now, we also have here the expanded accounting equation, which provides that after the owner's equity, we need to add revenue, less expenses, and less withdrawal. So, in order for you to understand better the rules of debit and credit, which you must memorize, no, by heart, no, it is summarized as follows. So, the rules of debit and credit. So, ito lang guys, you remember ha, pag asset, drawings, or withdrawals, or tsaka expenses, yung normal balance niya is nasa debit. Okay, nasa debit. Dapat ay left-hand side pala to. Left-hand side. So, that's debit. It's your value received. So, ito yung normal balance niya. Pag sabihin pala natin normal balance, ito yung saan yung increase. Kung asa siya mag-increase. It is debited if the transaction refers to an increase in asset, drawings, expenses. And it is credited when it is reduced or there's a value parted with. So, it's like for example, yung cash. Normal, yung cash is an asset. Current asset, right? So, dahil asset siya, if you are going to invest cash in the business, you debit cash because it increases in the debit side and you credit the corresponding capital account. Okay? So, expenses naman, if you incur an expense, you will debit the expense. Let's say, for example, office supplies expense, and then you credit what particular account. It could be cash, no? It could be cash, or it could also be that an accrual. So, hindi mo pa nababayaran, but you already incur that expense. Okay? So, ADE. Assets, drawings, expenses. Normal balance, nasa debit side. Okay? It will reduce in the credit side. Now, yung sa credit naman natin, mirror lang yan, no? So, here, yung liabilities, owner's equity, tsaka yung income natin, yung normal balance niya is nasa right-hand side natin, class. Okay? So, pag sabihin natin that there is an increase in liability, yung entry natin is we debit corresponding asset, credit, liability. So, pag umutang tayo, class, di ba yung entry is debit cash, credit, accounts payable. Bakit nga ulit credit? Credit kasi yun yung kung saan siya nag-i-increase. Okay? It is increase when credited. Okay? Or increase when credited. Okay. So, don't worry because repetition is a mother of all skills. So, meaning, malilearn talaga nito guys, no? Madali lang siya if paulit-ulit, no? Ulit-ulitin nyo lang talaga, just like, same thing is true with your profession, like you're studying information technology, di ba? So, sige ninyo balik-balik guys sa inyuhang mga basic concept, murag parang kinain nyo na. So, same thing is true. Ganun din yung sa accounting. Pag nalaman nyo na yung normal balance niya is, let's say for example, accounts receivable, normal balance niya is debit. So, darating talaga yung panahon na you don't need 5 seconds or 10 seconds to think about it, but it will just come to you like normal na. Okay? So, just enjoy the process, no, of studying these different account titles and its rules. Okay? So, now let's proceed with the T account. Okay? The T account. Ano ba yung T account? T account is a device that will group accounting values with their amounts that belong to one item only. So, I have provided here 3 different T accounts. T account for cash, accounts receivable, and accounts payable. Bakit nga ito tinatawag na T account? Kasi it looks like letter T, di ba? So, you have here parang T. And then, meron siyang debit at saka credit. So, para hindi kayo maguluhan, yung debit, yung left-hand side, yung credit, right-hand side. Yung cash, pag nasa debit, meaning increase, no? Increase. Yung credit niya is mga decrease sa cash. Sa accounts receivable, same lang sila ng nature in a way ni cash na sila ay asset, okay? Sila ay current asset, and yung increase nila nasa debit, yung decrease nila nasa credit. Okay? May umutang sa'yo, that's accounts receivable. May umutang sa'yo, hindi pa nagbayad, so accounts receivable yun, di ba? And then, pag ikaw naman umutang, that's your accounts payable. This T account shows yung umutang ka ng 5,000, nasa credit yung increase niya. Okay? Tapos, nagbayad ka sa debit. Pero yung problema nito, no, if you notice, the date. Dapat yung date is what? Parang baliktad. So, i-correct natin, no? Kaya dapat umutang ka muna bago ka nagbayad. No, mahirap din naman, nagbayad ka, wala ka pang utang. So, i-correct muna pala natin yan. So, let's insert at shape. Okay. Yung ito is, i-correct natin. Shape fill. So, this should have been, yung outline natin is wala. So, this should have been October. Uy, hindi pala nakikita. A moment. So, ito is black. Ay, black na ba ito? Hindi pa Okay. Tapos, lakihan naman natin ng konti, no? Lakihan natin ng konti. So, this is October. Okay, that's October 30. Okay. Tapos, yung isa is, so, umutang ka na October 30, most probably, nagbayad ka ng November. Sige, correct natin. November, say, 1 month. O, diba, bongga? November 30. Umutang ka, ay nagbayad ka, umutang ka na October 30, sorry. Tapos, nagbayad ka ng November 30. Okay? Okay, so, eto ha, remember, kada isang account title, meron siyang separate na T account. So, hindi pwedeng yung mga transaction ni cash, ilagay natin sa T account ni accounts receivable, or yung mga transaction ni accounts receivable, ilagay natin sa accounts payable. Gulo-gulo, di ba? So, dapat, transaction ni cash, ilalagay natin sa T account ni cash. Okay? And then, all the transactions relating to accounts receivable should be posted in the accounts receivable also na T account. Same thing is true kay accounts payable. Lahat ng mga transactions related kay accounts payable sa kanyang T account lang din. So, guys, 1:1. Okay? Hopefully that's clear, no? But don't worry, we will have a separate activity during class discussion na merong you are to identify or to make a T account for a various account titles so that you can practice, no? For the next step would be the journalizing. So here, journalizing. Step 2. So step 1, ano nga ulit yon? You need to identify the business transactions. Okay? Step 2, journalize entry. Okay? So journalizing is the mechanical phase of the accounting, and it is the system and chronological writing of business transaction and events in the journal. There are 2 important keywords in the definition of journalizing. The first one is systematic, no? Systematic because the recording process is performed in accordance with the prescribed accounting procedures. So in our case, we are following the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards. Meron talaga tayong standards for that. And then it must be chronological. Okay? Of course, hindi pwedeng yung transaction sa January, isusulat mo or i-input mo sa February, no? Hindi pwede yon. So, there must be yung tamang ayos, no? In terms of the time, kung kailan siya nangyari. Okay? Now, in short, this means that quantifiable and measurable business transactions are recognized based on the time of their occurrence. Okay. Yun nga, kailan siya nangyari. Now, saan ba natin siya ilalagay? So, we have books of accounts. Books of accounts are the mechanical instruments used for record keeping all accounting data. The books of accounts are the only prescribed and duly authorized recording mechanism to recognize business transactions and events. They should be officially registered, properly stamped, and authenticated by the Bureau of Internal Revenue as the official books of the business. Okay? Sometimes, hindi sometimes, meron talaga siyang prescribed na kung kailan ka magpapatatak, no, sa BIR. Pag puno na yung previous year, magpatatak ka na naman sa BIR. Now, pero, ngayon class, pwede naman din computerize, di ba? Pwede din loose leaf. Pero dahil we are still in the basic, yun nga, normal na parang isusulat natin yung mga entries sa books. There are 2 set of books required for all businesses. They are the Book of Original Entry and the Book of Final Entry. Okay, yung Book of Original Entry natin, it is technically called as the journal. Okay? The journal is called the Book of Original Entry because lahat ng business transactions are given accounting recognition in such book for the first time. Take note, yung journal natin, we have general journal and special journal. So, let's take a look. What does it look like ba, the general journal? So, we have here the general journal sample. The general journal, you could see the labeling of the journal at the top of the first page. Assuming this, ito na yung first page, no? We need to write the general journal, the name of the book. At the rightmost side, we need to write the page number of the journal para hindi tayo mawala. And then on succeeding pages, only the page number of the journal is written. So you do not need to put this heading na general journal ulit. Okay. When we write the date, we have the date for the year, DD, MMYY or MMDDYY. Okay? Pero dapat parehas. Ayos naman yung like if you use DDMMYYY in the first page, dapat all throughout yun na yung format. Okay? Hindi pwedeng pagka next page gusto mo naman MMDDYY, di ba? Parang ang gulo-gulo. The year and the month should be written in every page. And once written already in a certain page, usually referring to the first transaction in that page, the month should not be repeated. But in this case, nilagay niya yung full. Okay? Pwede din to. But I will show you later yung pwedeng hindi mo na ulit-ulitin yung parang month, tapos year, hindi na kinakailangan. So this is your general journal. In the general journal, you could also see that iba kasi yung format ito, no? So you have the debit, credit. So pag yung credit nakita nyo, parang may tab siya bago niya isulat yung credit. Para makita natin na this is already the start of yung credit portion. Una na sinusulat is the debit before the credit. So debit and then credit. The debit account title should be written first, and the account should be written adjacent to the line that divides the date column and the particular column. So, diba, dito siya, sinulat. This means that there is no space between the line and the first letter of the debit account title. So, malapit siya. The credit account title should be indented from the debit account title. So, indented siya, no? Abbreviation of account title is not allowed. Dili magtinapulan, no? Dili butang capital stock CS, advertising expense AE. So dili pwede. So dapat talagang full account title. And of course, the explanation should be indented from the credit account title. So dapat supposedly i-indent pa natin or pwede din na sa baba nito. And recording succeeding transactions, no blank space is provided. So, para sometimes, yung ano kasi, parang mas maganda yung may spacing, di ba? Kasi accounting is an art. So, lagyan natin siya ng art. Hindi naman siya dikit-dikit. And, of course, in the writing of the amount, take note, the debit amount should be written in the first money column. So, this is your first money column. The second money column, debit, credit. In line with the debit account title. So, dito yung nilagay mo yung debit. So, tingnan mo yung debit niya nandito din sa same na row. Okay? The credit amount should be placed on the second money column in line also with the credit account title. So, this is your credit, right? So, line dito sa second money column, ito yung credit. Okay? If there is no centavos, a dash sign is usually placed on the centavo column instead of writing the 2 zeros. Okay? And no comma and period should be used to indicate 1,000 pesos and cents. This is in the case of yung manual talaga na sinusulat. I think, meron ba akong nilagay dito? Yeah, this one. Ito yung parang sample niya, no? Ito yung pag sinulat mo, yung lagyan ng dash kung walang centavo. Tapos, ito yung, ang year nasa taas. Tapos, hindi mo na ulit-ulitin yung month at saka yung year kasi ilalagay mo lang January. Sa next na entry, yung date na lang. No need to write the month. Okay? So, balik tayo, no? Sa general journal. Okay, this is what it looks like. So, there are two types of the journal entry. So, may dalawang type ng journal. May general journal, may special journal. Yung journal entry, may dalawang type din. We have simple journal entry and yung compound journal entry. So, what is a simple journal entry? Ito pala, sinabi ko na to. The date, the ledger accounts, the narration to describe transaction, and then the amount of transaction. Date, account type, expiration, debit, credit. So, punta tayo sa simple journal entry. Simple journal entry is a journal entry with one debit and credit. One debit, one credit. Okay, an example of this journal entry is as follows. We have here January 2, 2021. We record collection by debiting cash amounting to 1,000, credit to accounts receivable of 1,000. You need to write the explanation to record collection. Okay. This simple journal entry provides the following information. Yung date, right? Kailan ba nangyari? So, January 2. Ano ba yung account na dinebit? Cash. Ano yung credit? Accounts receivable. Magkano ba? 1,000. So, it can be observed that there is only one debit and one credit. So, yan is a simple journal entry. Now, we could also make another entry kung saan merong more than one debit or credit. Okay? Yan yung compound journal entry. Compound journal entry is a journal entry that has multiple debits or credits. So, same thing is true. Makikita natin dito na there is only one debit and two or more credits in the recording of the service income. Okay. Paano to nangyayari, class? You render service. So, kaya nga service. So, dito tayo pala sa service concern ng mga entity, no? Ni-repair mo yung computer units para marami, no? Computer units ng kaibigan mo. So, meron siyang computer shop, tapos there's something wrong or pina-installan niya yung units niya ng mga, let's say for example, mga antivirus, mga ganon-ganon. Okay? Now, wala siyang enough na money. Okay? Wala siyang enough na money to record. So, yung service mo, yung total service mo is 2,500. Okay? Pero sabi niya sa'yo, ay, 1,000 lang yung pera ko, bye. So, ano yung dapat natin gawin? So books mo, so meaning, di ba, when you record, you need to put yourself into the shoes of the company. Okay? So, meron kang na-receive na cash, 1,000. So, you debit cash, amounting to 1,000. You debit another asset account, which is the account receivable account, amounting to 1,500. So, 1,000 plus 1,500 equals 2,500. And then, take note, yung service income natin, this is an income account, yung increase niya nasa credit. Okay? So, balance na yan. 2,500 equals 2,500. And then, you put the, what? Corresponding explanation to record service income. Ito, simple lang din. But in reality, you need to identify, no? What particular service order or job order number, kailan, okay, kinakailangan may detail. Anyway, sa entry mo naman, meron siyang attachment, no? Meron siyang attachment kada entry, meron siyang supporting document. It's not enough that you already how to debit, how to credit, but then you don't have the supporting document. Delikado ka niyan pag i-audit ka, okay? So, kinakailangan lahat may evidence. So, yung supporting document would help you. Okay? Now, let's take a look. Okay. Before going to step 3, no, when we do the posting, I want to show you an illustrative example of how we do the entry. Okay? Ito. So, ito na yon. Okay. Here. So, you're quite familiar naman with the chart of accounts, no? Assuming you have this chart of accounts. Nilagay ko ulit yung chart of accounts kasi we need to know what particular account are we going to use. At the same time, what would be the ledger number. Kasi nga, after this posting, after the journalizing phase or step, we do here. Okay? So, we have the chart of accounts. So, yun sa chart of accounts natin, anong nasa chart of accounts? It is a listing. Okay? It is a list of what? A list of numbered account titles that are prepared beforehand to guide us or the bookkeeper and accountant of what specific account titles will be used in describing the exchanges of values in a transaction. Hindi ko alam saan ko ba ito ilalagay. The next time na naman, same transaction but different na naman yung account title, di ba? Ang gulo. So, a bookkeeper may create an account title in cases where a transaction involves an account which is not found in the chart of accounts. So, example, may transaction na wala dito, so dagdag siya. Pero meron siyang arrangement. Okay? Tingnan nyo, yung asset, lahat ng asset nagsisimula sa 1. Lahat ng liability, di ba, nagsisimula sa 2. And then, sunod-sunod yan, class. Yung capital, nagsisimula sa 3. Yung income account, 4. Yung expense account, 5. Okay? Meron ba tayong nakalimutan? Okay, wala na. Okay? Dapat, may sequence na fina-follow. In this case, tingnan nyo, bakit to 101A, 101B, 101C? Because when we prepare the notes, isa lang naman to. It will fall under cash. Okay? Sa financial statement. So, nilagay na din natin yung ledger number para hindi tayo mawala later part, no, when we do the posting to the ledger. So, here, okay, now here, we will have to take a look at this illustrative example with the transactions for the month of January of 2021. Okay? And January 3, so, okay, for that, ito yung general journal natin, no? So, ito, in Excel ko na lang. Kasi, in reality, ano naman tayo, wala na yung mga manual. But for the purposes of you, a student, to familiarize the basic accounting talaga, so magaling talaga yung sinusulat. Diba? Kasi naaalala natin yung mga galaw ng kamay natin, diba? Pag sinusulat natin. So here, you have the date, the column for the date, the column for the accounts, another column for the post reference, and then debit column, credit column. So lahat yan, meron talaga siyang label. So, sinusulat talaga, no? So, you have the year 2021. Lakihan natin ng konti. So, here, January 3. On January 3, may nangyari. Okay, anong nangyari? Ryan invested 450,000 as a startup capital of the business. Okay, that happened on January 3. So, yung gawin natin is, like, lagay natin January 3. Okay, January 3. Wala pala kasing separate column. Or i-insert ko na lang. Pero okay lang yan, January 3. Or maganda pa rin yung may separate column yan. Sige nga, itry natin. Pero kasya pa kaya, January. So, para January na lang yung, Jan na lang yung ilagay natin dito. Tapos, ito is for the date. Okay, ganun na lang yung gawin natin. January 3, para maging maganda. So, ito, i-merge na lang natin to, at saka ito, i-merge na lang din natin. So, i-bold natin. Okay. January 3, anong nangyari? Ryan invested 450 as a startup capital of the business. Okay. Invest siya ng pera. So, tingnan natin yung chart of accounts. Okay. Nag-invest siya ng pera. So, investment, di ba? Yung cash on hand. Cash on hand. Okay? Tapos, yung account niya for the capital, Ryan Capital. So, actually, yung parang kukunin mo lang sa chart of accounts. Tapos, yung gagamitin mo yung account na yon sa paggawa mo ng entry. So, in this case, pwede ka, let's say here, cash. Kasi cash on hand, copy. Pwede ka mag-paste dito. Okay? Cash on hand. And then, credit. Ano ba yung, magkano nga pala? So, yung debit mo is 450,000. Sorry. This should have been, undo na lang pala. So, this one, di ba, debit ka ng cash on hand. So, ilagay mo yung amount. So, that's 450,000. Okay? So, ito, money columns. Gawin natin yung mga meron siyang kama para hindi tayo mawala. Okay? Next is yung credit. So, meron ka ng debit. Okay na ba tayo? Hindi pa. Kasi ilalagay pa natin yung credit. Yung credit naman natin is, kung hindi pa talaga kayo familiar, check na muna natin yung chart of accounts. Tapos, kunin natin yung corresponding capital account. Tingnan yung capital, Ryan Capital. Okay? We do the entry, Ryan Capital, and then we indent. Isang indention, tapos credit Ryan Capital. Okay. Anong kulay ba to? Dapat black. Pero ibang kulay din to, no? So, ibang kulay nito. Gray. I-black na lang din natin yan. Okay. So, yung credit natin is Ryan Capital. Of course, meron pa tayong hindi nasusulat. Sulat natin, 450,000. Okay? Are we done? Not yet. Because we are to, what? To put the explanation sa baba ng credit. So, ano ba yung explanation? Nag-invest si Ryan ng 450,000 pang capital. Nag-debit tayo ng cash, nag-credit tayo ng capital. And what should be our explanation. Our explanation is simple as, wait lang, we indent, no? Indent 1, 2, 3. To record initial investment. Kuha? Okay, simple lang, no? So, yan lang yung gagawin natin, class. So, maggagawa lang tayo ng mga ganito. Okay? I-entry lang natin siya. Okay? So, madali lang. No? Madali lang. Pag malaman mo na yung flow, madali na. Right? So, lagyan natin ng isang space kasi para, yun nga, accounting is an art. So, next transaction natin is on January 5. The business opened current account at Partner Bank Hingoog branch and deposited intact the amount invested by the owner. Okay? Meaning, yung pera hawak-hawak ni Ryan, dineposit niya sa bangko, gawa ka na naman ng entry kasi may nangyari. It's a business transaction that has an effect in the asset. Pero yung sa asset is, you transferred it to another account. Pero cash pa rin. Okay? So, same thing is true, lagyan pa rin ng date. No need to write the month, kay parehas lang naman sila ng month. So, January 5. Okay, January 5. Now, ano ba yung dinebit mo? What are account title increases? Oh, ano ba yung, sino sa kanila yung nag-increase? Sino? Tao sila hindi. Alin sa kanila yung nag-increase? So, yung nag-increase is, ano ba? Tingnan natin sa chart of accounts. And then, cash in bank. Right? Yung cash in bank natin, nag-increase. Tapos, pareha sila. Cash in bank. Tapos, maganda din na ilagay dapat yung what if marami kang cash in bank in various banks. No? Like, example, meron kang BDO, meron kang BPI, meron kang SBC. So, hindi natin i-complicate, pero gusto kong ilagay na lang din natin yung anong bank. Okay? So, partner bank, Hingoog. Okay. So, at least, pag ikaw, matingnan mo, cash in bank, saang bank ko, ma-answer mo na yung tanong na saan. Okay? By the looks of, so, isang tingin mo lang sa account title. Sorry. So, of course, yun nga, nag-increase siya ng magkano. Hindi nilagay, but, tingnan niyo yung wordings, deposited intact the amount invested by the owner. Okay, invested by the owner. So, magkano? In-invest niya for 50, dineposit niya for 50. Okay? And then, what is the value parted with? Yung cash. Okay, dineposit mo eh. So, cash on hand. Okay? Ito yung, tapos, ano yung ating explanation, ay kulang pa, hindi pa natin nalagay yung amount. So, dapat may amount yan. Yung, natin is, copy-paste to record bank deposit. Of course, hindi pwedeng copy-paste, no? I-check muna natin, tama ba yung explanation? To record bank deposit. Okay? Sige, let's proceed. On January 6, so yun pa rin. No need to write the month. You need to write the date. No? On January 6, you paid rent for the month of January 2021 amounting to what? 6,000. So, yung gamit mo is, actually, in-expense mo, pwede mag-prepaid, pero mag-a-adjust ka na naman at month end. So, yung gagawin natin is, we debit the corresponding expense account, rent, expense. Sorry, dapat ito is pareha sila ng okay, wait lang ha. Para sa formatting, hindi masyadong okay. Ito, dapat pareha sila ng format here. Diba? Tapos, ito, pareha sila ng format here. So, yung line lang, no? Hindi ko nakita. So, yan. Debit ka ng rent expense. Magkano? 6,000. Right? Silagay mo, 6,000. Credit mo ay, nagbayad ka, paid rent. So, wala ka ng pera on hand. Okay, cash in hand. Wrong. Cash on hand pala ni. Uy, cash on hand. Yung sa rent mo, nagbayad ka sa bank, galing sa bank. So, cash in bank. partner bank. Hinguog. Amounting to 6,000. Okay? Balanse. What should be your explanation? To record rent expense. Okay? For January 2021. Okay. Kompletuhin na din natin. Okay? Next. Sige, baba na tayo. So, insert natin yung... Ay, sorry. Dito pala. Insert tayo ng isa para ano sila level. Okay. On January 8, anong nangyari? Bumili ka ng gym equipment amounting to 400,000. Nag-down ka ng 250. Yung balanse, babayaran mo on March 30, 2021. Right? So, what is the value you receive? The item that you receive is the gym equipment. Ay, sorry. So, dapat, yun na nga, dapat parehas na silang formatting. Okay? You have gym equipment. Magkano yung gym equipment class? That's 400,000. Ay, sorry. Sobra ng isang, o diba? Isang zero lang, laki-laki na yung difference. So, 400,000. Yung credit is, what? Your credit is, ay, sorry. Ma'am, ang gulo. Ewan kasi na ano siya. Sorry dito. Last na talaga. Bakit wala tong ano, line sa baba? Ito, format ko, same sila. Okay, may line na. Gym equipment, debit. Tapos, yung credit natin is, ano? Dapat gagawa tayo ng compound entry for this one, right? Okay, so here, nagbayad ka ng 250, so cash in bank pa rin yun, di ba? Wala kang cash on hand. Cash in bank mo, bayad ka, magkano? Yung down mo, 250,000. Okay? Meron ka pang isang credit na account, right? Ano yon? That is your accounts payable. Payable. Magkano? So, pwede kang ayaw mo na mag-compute using the calcu, gamitan mo lang natin ng Excel. So, 400 less 250,000, that's 150,000. Right? Okay. And then, of course, yun pa rin, class, lagyan ng explanation. Lahat may explanation. Okay? So, ano yung ating explanation? To record what? Purchase of gym equipment. Okay. Okay? Next is another entry. You paid the salary. Oh, katapusan na. Diba? So, of course, magbabayad tayo sa mga staff. So, you paid the salary of the staff by issuing check for the payment as follows. For the payment, tama ba yung English nito, class? For the payment, pay the salary of staff by issuing check for the payment as follows. Salaries of the month, 15,000 plus deduction of SSS, Pag-ibig, PhilHealth, and withholding tax. So, yung net niya is 13,825. So, yung entry natin, class, is, of course, lagyan pa rin natin ng date, January 30, right? Bakit iba yung kulay dito sa baba nun? Uy, a moment. Okay, what should be the entry? So, you have salaries expense. Ayun. And then, yung salaries expense mo amounting to 15,000, yung total. Bakit? Okay. Yan. Tapos, salaries expense, debit. Credit natin is, ano yung credit natin, class? I-credit natin, una, i-credit natin yung cash in bank. Right? Ito na lang, i-copy na lang natin to. Yung amount ng cash in bank na i-credit natin, class, is yung amount ng net pay. Okay, magkano yung net pay? 13,825. Right? So, meron kang 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Apat na deduction. So, ilagay din natin yung apat na deduction. So, meron yan dito sa chart of accounts. Okay? Yung deduction natin is yung payable ng SSS, Pag-ibig, PhilHealth, tapos withholding. Okay? So, pwede natin i-copy kasi excellent to, pwede copy-paste, no? But if manual talaga, isusulat nyo talaga, guys. Okay? Yung entries, lagay natin dito. Tapos, sorry, dapat, values lang para hindi yung, tapos, it's not, bakit iba yung, format. Tapos, i-indent. Okay. Sige. So, meron na tayong another credit. So, compound entry to, ha? Remember, yung difference ng simple journal entry and compound journal entry is that yung simple journal entry, 1 debit, 1 credit. Compound journal entry, there are more than 1 debit or credit. Okay? So, eto na, yung withholding tax payable. Magkano yung withholding tax payable? We have 300. Okay? Saan kinuha? Eto lang yan, class. Okay? Nandito lang yan. SSS premium payable. 500. Saan kinuha? Huwag mataranta. Nandito lang din yan. Okay? Binigay sa problem. Next, Pag-ibig. Magkano? 200. Okay? Eto lang din yan. At saka yung PhilHealth premium payable. Payable kasi i-remit mo pa yan sa government. Okay? So, payable pa yan. So, tingnan nyo mabuti sa compound entry. Importante talaga na yung balance yung debit at saka credit. So, 15,000 should be equivalent to this total here. So, magkano ba yan? So, yan ay, tingnan natin yung sum sa Excel. Makikita dito sa, sa baba. Yan, nakikita ba o hindi? Ito, 15,000. Okay? Tapos na ba? Hindi pa tapos. We still have to include the what? The explanation. Very good. So, yung explanation natin, guys, is, ano yung explanation? To record payment of salary. Okay. Tapos na tayo sa journal entry. Tapos na tayo sa second step. Pero hindi pa tayo tapos sa accounting cycle. So, let's continue. Okay? Now, let's move to the step number 3. Step number 3. Post journal entry to ledger. Ay, by the way, before I forget, huwag kayong mag-alala kasi I still need to assign an activity, para performance task, para i-check lang muna natin kung naiintindihan niyo ba talaga yung pag-journal. Okay? Now, yung posting, Posting refers to the process of transferring the same information found in the journal to the ledger. Posting basically is a sorting process because it groups similar accounts according to their nature and type. In the process of transferring the information from the journal, so yung isang book, journal. Yung isang book, ledger. So from journal to the ledger, the following guidelines must be observed. Una, dapat yung debit entry sa journal, ito transfer sa debit side ng ledger. Okay? Tapos lahat ng credit side sa journal, credit entries in the journal should be transferred to the credit side of the ledger. So dapat debit sa journal, debit sa ledger. Credit sa journal, credit sa ledger. Gets? Okay. Ito yon. Ito yung ledger na manual, no? Ito yung gamit namin long time ago in Bethlehem, yung mga ginagawa ng, meron tayong practice set nito eh. So, ito yung debit side, dalawang side, debit side, credit side. The date reflects the date of the transactions recorded in the journal. So, meron pa din siyang date class. May particular, which you are going to write the brief explanation of the transaction. F or folio or post reference, yung sa isa, is used for cross-referencing of information. It is the page number of the journal of the account being posted. Page number. Okay? Yung sa journal, ilalagay natin yung post reference saan na ledger. Okay? So, the debit column reflects the debit amount from the journal of the account being posted. The credit column reflects the credit amount from the journal of the account being posted. Page number indicates the current page used in sorting the accounts. So, for illustrative purposes, let's take a look at this example. Uy, ang gulo-gulo, ang gulo-gulo. Ito talaga yung itsura niya, class, no? Kung hindi naka-Excel. Kasi, meron siyang template, no? Na, ito yung from General Journal, ilalagay natin sa ledger. Tingnan nyo mabuti, Journal 1, L1, Ledger 1. So, ito yung kay Angel. Okay, kay Angel. Noong February 1, si Angel ay nag-record ng initial investment. So, ito, di ba, at first, okay, ito, assuming muna na wala ito sa baba. Okay, wala ito. So, nyo muna itong isipin. Assuming wala to dito. Okay? At wala yung mga lines, whatever. So, ito muna tayo sa General Journal. Okay? Gumawa tayo ng entry. Ang unang entry, Angel invested cash of 500,000 in the business. So, lagay ka, debit cash on hand, credit Angel capital, explanation to record initial investment. Magkano? 500,000 debit, 500,000 credit. Pero pag ikaw mag-study ka class, dapat may sequence like debit cash on hand, 500,000, credit Angel capital, 500,000, to record initial investment. Ganon. Okay? Next, on Feb 15, you borrowed money from Metro Bank amounting to 200,000. What should be your entry? You write the date, debit, cash on hand amounting to 200,000, credit bank loan payable amounting to 200,000, and the explanation to record bank loan. Okay. Next, entry. The third entry for the month of February, Feb 30, rent. You have paid the rental for the month amounting to 5,000. So, you debit rent expense 5,000, credit cash 5,000, and then the explanation, wag kalimutan to record rent for the month. Okay? Ngayon, diba, yung General Journal, isipin that is your book of original entry. At yung original entry mo, ita-transfer mo na ngayon iyan sa ledger. Okay? So, tanggalin na natin yung nito. Okay. Ito na yung ledger mo kasi yung cash yung pinag-uusapan natin. No? Yung ledger lang din ni cash yung tingnan muna natin para hindi tayo magkagulo-gulo. Okay? So, you have here debit, ledger 1. Okay? Ledger 1, cash on hand. Yung unang entry na cash on hand, di ba yung nag-debit ka ng cash on hand, so ilagay mo dito yung particular, initial investment, 500,000. Yung folio niya, J1. Tapos yung sa kabila, partner sila. Saan mo nilagay? Sa ledger 1. Saan galing? Di ba sa baba? Saan galing? Sa journal 1. Okay? Sa second entry, meron na naman siyang impact or effect sa cash on hand. So, debit. Kasi umutang ka, ilalagay mo ngayon yan dito sa baba. Okay? Borrowed money. Pwedeng ganun lang yung particular kasi konti lang din yung space. Lagay mo saan mo kinuha sa journal 1. Tapos sa journal 1, lagay mo saan mo pinost sa ledger 1. Tingnan mo mabuti, class, no, na example here sa Angel Capital, hindi pa tayo naglalagay ng post reference kasi hindi pa natin napopost. So, in a way, namomonitor natin kung saan or aling journal account yung nakapost na sa ledger. So, in short, makikita natin na wala talaga tayong double entry, wala tayong ma-miss. Okay? So, next is on the third account, yung reduction of cash on hand for the payment of rent expense. So, ito, i-forward ito or i-transfer ito dito sa ledger 1. So, lagay mo dito sa post reference, ledger 1. Lagay natin dito sa folio, journal 1. So, yan is for the particulars, payment of rent. Lagay yung date. Amount, 5,000. O, diba? Simple lang. Simple lang ba, class? Anong tingin nyo? Mahirap ba? Hindi naman siguro, no? Pero tingnan natin. Gawin natin. Okay? Ito na. Okay. Actually, gumawa na ako kanina, no? Ng worksheet. Pero, let's do it again. Okay? Here, yung galing sa journal entry. Ito, yung ginawa natin kanina. Ito, ita-transfer natin dun sa kabila. Yung worksheet, pwede lagay natin to ledger. Okay, ledger. So, ita-transfer natin. Pero wala pala akong nalagay dito na folio. So, ilagay din natin pala dito yung folio. Yung sa kabila, posting reference or PR. Dito is yung folio. Okay. Tapos, gawin din natin yun sa kabila. Pero yung folio niya is journal 1 kasi first page mo yun ng journal 1, di ba? F. Kaya mag-alala class kasi bibigyan ko kayo ng kopya ng worksheet na to. Okay. Para by the time you will study for the, exam, meron kayo makikita na, huwag nyo lang galaw-galawin yung mga entries para hindi masira yung mga, ang tawag dito, yung mga formula sa Excel. Okay? Tingnan nyo, iba yung mukha nung sa manual at saka ito, di ba? Kasi Excel na, mas mabuting ganito yung itsura niya. Na, ito muna, zoom muna natin yung sa cash. Okay, cash on hand. Cash on hand muna tayo. Muna natin complicate yung mga bagay-bagay. Okay. So, nilagay ko dito, class, yung ledger ng cash on hand, L1. Saan galing yung L1? Diba, remember yung sa chart of accounts, inassign na natin sila ng ledger number para hindi tayo mawala, right? So, L1, ledger 1. Yung January 1, 2021, wala tayong balance forward kasi the business started on January 3. So, January 3 na merong activities. Charot. Merong mga pangyayari, di ba? So, eto, punta tayo dito. Okay. Ang gagawin natin, okay, doon muna tayo sa cash on hand. Okay. Dito, ilagay natin sa kabila, sa ledger. So, okay. Okay. So, para hindi tayo mawala, natin, parang sunod-sunod ba? No? Dapat, parang wala tayong ma-miss. Okay? Sisimula tayo sa cash on hand. So, yung cash on hand, record initial investment amounting to 450,000. So, ito, ledger. Okay? Hanapin si cash on hand, ito siya, ledger 1. Okay? So, yan, ledger 1. Ilagay natin dito yung date, January 3. Ilagay natin yung description. Asan galing to? Kunin lang natin yan dito. Okay? Tapos, pagkatapos, di ba, debit yon, di ba, dapat, kung sa journal debit, sa ledger debit. Okay? Hindi pwedeng, sa journal dinebit mo, pagdating mo sa ledger, credit mo. So, hindi yan magbabalanse. So, parang, pag gagawa ka ng trial balance, hindi ka talaga magbabalanse. Sayang yung oras mo. So, you need to be accurate. Okay? In a way, no? Accurate kayo na. Pag debit sa journal, debit sa ledger. So, here, the description, kinapi lang natin sa kabila, and then, yung folio natin, lagay na natin yung J1. No? Saan siya galing? 450,000. Now, kasi nakapost na to dito, dapat, dito sa journal entry natin, lagay na natin dito, L1. Okay. Naka-blue. Naka-blue. Para naman, maklaro natin. No? So, i-blue na lang din natin to para hindi siya ma-sad. Siya ng blue. Okay. J1. Okay. So, J1. Next. Diba yung debit niya, ito. Ang credit niya is Ryan Capital. Right? So, hanapin yung ledger ni Ryan. So, baba, 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 baba. Wala. So, tingnan natin sa kanan. Sa right-hand side. Okay. Dito ko pala nilagay. Yung partner. Okay? Ito, yung gagawin mo lang is pwede mong i-copy ito. Okay? Pwede, copy-paste mo dito kay Ryan, capital. Tapos, tingnan mo, debit siya dito, yung credit niya nandito. Okay? But ilalagay mo yung folio, copy na lang natin yung folio dito sa J1. Pero yung posting reference niya is hindi na L1, L19. Saan galing? Tingnan na sa chart of accounts, 'di ba? Na-assign na siya na ledger number 19. So, yung sa journal entry class, lagay natin dito sa baba is L19. Okay? So, na-post. So, pag meron na siyang entry dito, okay, meaning, na-post mo na siya dito sa ledger. Okay? So, kulayan na lang natin dito ha, yung mga nandun sa kabila. Pero later, ano naman natin, para sure na tayo nito, na na-post na, ito, partner sila. So, kulayan natin ng different color na para makita nyo na ito, yung partner niya dito sa baba. Okay lang ba? Okay? Sige. Okay. Next, yung journal entry number 2. Cash in bank, partner bank, hinguog for 50,000. Credit cash on hand for 50,000 to record bank deposit. So, hanapin niyo naman yung ledger ni cash in bank, partner bank, hinguog. So, tingnan dito sa kabila. Ito na siya. Ledger number 2. Saan galing yung ledger number 2? Yung numbering galing sa chart of accounts. Okay? Ito, ilagay na lang natin dito, partner bank. Okay? Tapos, hinguog. Okay. So, there you have it. So, to record the bank deposit, ano ulit yan? To record bank deposit, ito lang yung kukunin mo. Tapos, di ba, debit siya dito. Dapat debit din siya sa ledger. So, debit, debit. Nakita niyo yon? So, ilagay yung date. Tapos, ilagay ang amount. So, anong kulay? Lagyan natin ng ganitong kulay. Okay. So, ano yung folio niya? Nandun pa rin siya sa journal page 1. Okay, J1. Kaya yung mga journal natin, meron dapat paging. Dun sa, di ba, page 1 ito. Okay? Para hindi tayo mawala. Journal 1. Tapos, yung partner niya is, nag-deposit tayo, saan yung reference dito sa taas, di ba? Yung credit is cash on hand for 50,000. Before that, ito pala, lagyan muna natin ng posting reference. L2. Okay? Copy. Tapos, i-change na natin to L2. Yung cash on hand natin is L1. Lagay na lang natin muna dito L1. Tapos, here, i-copy natin to dito sa taas, pero nasa credit portion. Ang folio, J1, page 1 ng journal. At saka, yung color, ilagay na lang din natin yung color para hindi kayo mawala. So, debit, 400, credit, 400. Nakita? Okay. Next entry is on the rent expense. Yung rent expense mo, hanapin mo sa ledger. Yung nasa ledger, to make it easier, diba, pinost ko na kanina, yung ano niya, reference niya is L28. San galing? Sa chart of accounts. Ito yan. Okay. I-highlight na lang din natin para daliin ninyo makita later part when you study, ha. Yung mga account titles na ginamit natin sa example na to. Okay, yung gym equipment, ginamit din natin. Yung capital, ginamit din natin. Yung accounts payable, ginamit din natin. Okay. So, balik. Rent expense, tingnan natin yung ledger number 28. So, lagay. Ledger number 28. Tapos, yung sa ledger number 28, nilagay na natin dito January 6, record expense for January 21, amounting to 6,000. Walang, wala siyang beginning balance if mapapansin nyo kasi every year, nagko-close tayo ng income accounts, income and expense accounts. Okay? Compared sa yung mga nasa balance sheet accounts natin, yung asset, liabilities, and owner's equity, na-forward siya sa next year. Kasi yung balance sheet provides the cumulative values, no? Or balances. So, you have the rent expense, tapos nagbayad ka in cash in bank. So, yung ano natin is, ito is nasa J1 pa rin. Right? Nasa J1 pa rin yan. Nagbayad ka, ito naman yung partner niya, nasa credit. J1 pa din yung folio. Pero tingnan natin ha, yung ano niya, reference L2. So, lagay natin dito L2. Kasi meron tayong L2 sa taas, kinopy-paste na lang natin. But that is the para makita nyo yung reference number, freeze na lang natin. Yan. Okay, klaro? Okay. Now, let's proceed with the gym equipment. Assuming tama kayo talaga sa mga iba class, dapat tama kayo sa paggawa ng entry. Kasi kung hindi kayo tama sa paggawa ng entry, mali yung ledger, mali yung balanse, bagsak. Diba? So, dapat accurate. So, eto na, gym equipment, debit 400,000, credit cash in bank, partner bank, hinuog to 50,000, accounts payable, credit 150,000. Okay? So, punta tayo sa ledger, pack. Tapos, hinapin si gym equipment, pack. Ano yung reference niya? Posting reference, L7. I-record na agad. Okay? Tapos, lagyan ng kulay. Yung for purposes of discussion, nilalagyan natin ng kulay ha. Pero sa actual, wala nang kulay-kulay yan. Okay? Record purchase of gym equipment amounting to 400,000. Tapos, yung partner niya is ito. But before you forget, lagyan niyo ng folio J1. Okay, yan ay J1. Copy, and then we put it here. So, yan ay yung partner, debit, credit. Okay? Meron pa isang credit yan, yung cash. Ito. Okay? So, yun pa din, J1 pa rin yan. J1. Ay, yung balance pala, 394 plus debit less credit. So, yung balance mo, 144,000. Ito kasi sa Excel, mas madali mo makikita yung balance niya, di ba? Compared yung sa isa. Kasi mag-footing ka pa, may tinatawag na footing. You need to add all the debit and then you add all the credit. Yung footing, it refers to the process of adding the debit and credit money columns of the ledger and finding their balances. But using Excel, mas madali na siya kasi pwede mo na yung balance, i-add mo yung increase baka or decrease, depende kung anong account yung pinag-uusapan natin. So, mas madali lang mas madali lang kunin yung outstanding balances nila. Okay? And then here, 144, 150. So, tama na. So, at the end of the day, you will find, if you are using Excel, you could see that the cash on bank, yung balance pala niya is, eto, 50,000. Yung cash in bank, yung balance pala niya is 144,000. Okay? Pero kung gagawa ka ng yung magfo-footing ka class, ang gagawin mo lang din naman is, ano ang gagawin? Charot. Yung gagawin mo lang is i-add yung debit, i-add yung credit. So, assuming i-add ang debit, yung credit, o diba? Tapos, yung normal balance niya is yung nasa debit side. So, diba? Parehas lang talaga yung lalabas. Okay? Lagyan natin yan ng kulay yellow para makita natin yung balance. Ito yung balance class ha, yung 50,000. Pero para lang makita nyo na pag i-footing siya, parehas lang talaga yung lalabas. Okay? Same thing is true here sa cash in bank, partners bank. Ito. Same lang yan sila. So, here, 400,000. Here, add lahat ng credit. Balance, 144. Okay? Pero para mas with emphasis pa rin, so makikita nyo, yan. Okay? Tapos ito, balance lang yan kasi 400, tapos 0, 400. Same thing, 0, 150, 150. Okay? Tapos, wala din dito, so 450, balance lang din yan. And finally, sa rent expense. So, hindi ko na gunawan ng general ledger yung last, no? So, hindi pala natin pa nalalagyan ng posting reference. Yung gym equipment, nasa ledger 7. Okay. 7. Yung cash in bank partner hinuog is nasa ledger 2, that's for sure. And then yung isa, Accounts payable, ledger 11. Saan galing? Dito pa rin yan sa chart of accounts. Dito, accounts payable, ledger 11. Okay? Okay. Ledger 11. Tapos, pagandahin natin. Kasi nga, accounting is an art. No? Hindi pwedeng kahit ano na lang yung ilagay mo dyan. So, di ba, see? Maganda na siya. Klaro na yung report natin. Na-post na pala natin. Tapos na tayo sa pagpo-post. No? Pagkatapos ng journal entry, tapos na tayong mag-post sa ledger. Now, let's proceed with, saan na ba tayo, class? Okay, doon na tayo sa step 4, prepare trial balance. So, step 1, identify business transaction. Step 2, journalize the entries. Third one, post the journal entry to the ledger. Okay, I hope na may naiintindihan kayo. And don't worry because we will have a series of sample problems no, during our class para mas maintindihan nyo at mas makita ko rin kung naiintindihan nyo nga talaga. Okay, and step 4 is to prepare the trial balance. Yung trial balance natin, class, or the preparation of our trial balance is the 4th step in accounting cycle, and that it is the listing of all accounts with open balances from the general ledger, and that accounts with no balance or zero balance are not included. Okay? And then, if you notice, the trial balance accounts are listed according to the account sequence found in the chart of accounts. You have asset to cash, accounts receivable, laundry supplies, laundry equipment, asset yan lahat. So, sunod-sunod sila, lahat ng asset una. Next, yung liabilities, notes payable, accounts payable. Next, yung capital, cruise drawing. Next, yung income, laundry income. Next, yung expense, salaries expense, rent expense, utilities, taxes, interest. Okay? Yung parts ng trial balance, nakikita natin yung heading, the name of the business, ng title ng statement, and then the period covered. Sa body, makikita natin yung account title, yung folio, and then yung debit columns or debit balances and credit balances. Ang advantage ng trial balance for 1 is makikita mo kung balance 1 million, in this case ha, this is 1,060,000 is equivalent to 1,060,000. However, hindi mo matitrace sa sa trial balance if, for example, nagbaylo ba yung notes payable, yung isang transaction sa accounts payable, dapat doon siya sa notes payable. So, hindi mo siya makikita agad-agad. Okay? Kung nasa tamang account ba. Okay? So, yan lang yung preparation ng trial balance. Yung tamang pagkakasunod-sunod lang. Okay? So, hopefully, guys, you can prepare a set of questions, no? If may mga katanungan kayo, hindi kayo naiintindihan, after listening to these videos, you can ask me, you can PM, and leave a message, and then even during the discussion, you could also raise those questions, okay? And then, of course, during the class discussion, we will have the activities na agad-agad para mas marami tayong ma-cover. Okay, thank you very much, and wherever you are right now, please do pray for the safety, no? Yung wala na sana yung pandemic, and of course, safety of our loved ones, the frontliners, and yung mga leaders natin. We also need to pray for them na sana tama din yung mga decision na gagawin nila. So, thank you everyone. Thank you class for listening to the video prepared. And hopefully, I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye!